Hello everybody, this is Jeff Janess, and welcome to our second lab exercise on selections and joins and relates. In this lab exercise, we're going to try out some select by location functions. We're going to use some data from some Forest Service data near Flagstaff. And we're going to select a lot of survey points based on proximity to roads, whether they're in a particular watershed, and based on an attribute value within the attribute table. All right, so let's start out. We're going to make a brand new map. Hit the Insert New Map. Now let's add the data. We're going to add the Coconino Motor Vehicle Use Map roads. We're going to add this Upper Spruce Watershed boundary. We're going to add these survey points. And then we're going to throw in the imagery base map. First up, we'll get the Motor Vehicle Use Map roads. They're in this additional, they're in class data and then additional data. Next, we'll get the Upper Spruce Watershed boundary. They're in the workspace Dry Lake Hills. Next, we'll get the survey points. They're in the workspace Selecting and Creating Data. And finally, let's just throw in the World Imagery Base Map. All right, let's first zoom to the extent of the Upper Spruce Watershed. Right-click on that, go to Zoom to Layer. And I'm going to change the symbology. I'm going to make it partially transparent so I can see the landscape underneath it. But doing that, I select the layer, come up to the Feature Layer tab that has appeared up in the ribbon, and here's the transparency. Let's just let us see through that a little bit. All right. Okay, in this lab exercise, we're going to learn how to select features from one data set based on spatial relationships with other data sets. We're going to make multi-criteria selections. We're going to use different selection types like adding to selection and removing from selection. And at the end of the day, we're going to find out all these survey points, as these little dots, that have a class value of 8 or higher. You can see they're symbolized by classes right here. So they have to be 8 or higher. We're also going to select only those points that are within the Spruce Watershed polygon and are between 250 meters and 1 kilometer distance from the Forest Service roads that are open year-long to all vehicles. So that's not all forest roads, just a special subset of them. All right, so first we're going to select the survey points that intersect the watershed. That is a select by location. We get to that from the ribbon here. Select survey points that intersect the watershed boundary. We don't have any search distance. If we had a search distance, it would also select the points within 250 meters. And this is a brand new selection. All right. Hit OK. And our points within the polygon become selected, just as we were hoping. This should give us 3,900 points selected. Let's check that. And sure enough, we have the right number selected. Okay, now we're going to adjust our selection based on the proximity to roads. But not all roads, just the roads that are open to all vehicles. So we have to do a selection on the road feature class now. Let's come back here. The roads that are open to all vehicles are these two classes here. So we need to select both of those classes. We're going to use a like query. There's a couple ways we could select both of them, but I like the like one. It's a little more efficient. If we use this SQL query here, this means that it will find all roads that have the symbol lookup value that has all vehicles in the name somewhere. The %sign at the beginning means that it can have anything in front of all vehicles. And the %sign at the end means that it can have any text following all vehicles. So we're going to do this as a select by attributes query. Select by attributes. We're going to select the roads. It's a brand new selection. And we can do this in the clause mode or in the SQL mode. Let's start with the clause mode. So symbol lookup contains the text, not highway legal, but all vehicles. The SQL version of this would look like this, a light query, just like we saw back here. That's this. Okay, either case will work. We could check it to make sure it's good expression and all looks good. So we hit OK, and we have selected those roads. Notice we did not select this road coming through the middle of the watershed. That's because it's only open to highway legal vehicles. We want the roads that are open to all vehicles. We're expecting to have 1,585 roads selected, so let's check that. Yep, 1,585. All is well so far. So our next step is to select the points, the survey points that are within 1 kilometer of these selected roads. We're going to base our distance on geodesic distances. So let's open up the Select by Location tool. We're selecting from the survey points. We know that there's 3,900 points selected so far, so we only want to select from the currently selected set, right? We're wanting to restrict our selection to just within the watershed. So the selection type is not a new selection, but rather select a subset from the current selection. Okay, the spatial relationship, we want this to be within 1 kilometer of roads. So we're going to use geodesic distance. This is the best choice, most accurate choice, and we'll explain why that is in the next lecture on projections and datums. But in the meantime, let's just go with geodesic distances. The selecting features, these are the objects we're comparing our points to. Well, those will be the roads. And the tool recognizes that there are 1,500 roads selected and will only use those in the analysis. Okay, geodesic distances, and the distance is 1,000 meters. Or, we could do 1 kilometer if we wanted. They're the same, right? Selecting subset, hit apply. Okay, good. We see that nothing new has been selected. When we select a subset from the current selection, then nothing outside the polygon got selected. This is appropriate. And only those points that were within 1 kilometer of the roads were maintained as selected. So we're down to 2,468 survey points that are left. Okay. So we're almost there. Remember, at the end of the day, we want to get all those survey points that are both within a kilometer but greater than 250 meters. So they have to be at that range of distances. So the next step is to remove the selection, all those points that are within 250 meters of the roads. So we're still in the Select by Location. We're still selecting from survey points. We're still using a geodesic distance on the roads. This time it's going to be 250 meters. And we are going to be removing from the current selection. So it'll just erase all the points close to the roads. Hit apply. Okay, and we see the points close to the roads became unselected, just like we were hoping. We're left with 1,585 points. Okay, so we're making good progress. So we've got all the spatial constraints met for our points. So we can close the Select by Location window. Now, one last step. Remember, we also have an attribute value constraint. We only want, of these selected points, we only want the ones that have a class value greater than or equal to 8. So let's come back to our Select by Attributes. We're selecting the survey points. It's not a new selection. This is going to be a select from a subset from the current selection. So we're only drawing from these currently selected candidates. Let's remove this. And I'm going to type it, I'm going to do the SQL version. So we want the survey points where class is greater than or equal to 8. Let's confirm that it's a legal query. The SQL expression is valid. All is good. All right, this is what it looks like in clause mode. All is well. All right, hit apply. We notice that a lot of them became unselected. And we can even zoom in a little bit and see that a little bit better. And Pro doesn't really do a good job of showing selected sometimes. So we can make this a little more visible if we make our symbols larger. I'm just going to do that because it helps me see it here. So we go, right click on this, go to symbology. Right now these are all the symbols, tiny little dots. If we hit this more button, we can format all symbols, and I'm just going to make them bigger dots is all. Right now they're at 3 points. Let's bring them up to, say, 10-point size. Hit apply. Okay, so the dots are bigger, and so is the selection symbol. A little easier to see the pattern. Okay, looking good. See how many there are. 964 points are left selected. And that's the end of the exercise. We have answered our question. Thanks so much, everybody.